A lion doesn't lose sleep over the opinions of sheep, but it will roar when the sheep forget who rules the wild. You see, the problem was never you. It was them, thinking they could tame a storm, silence thunder, or dim a light that was never theirs to control. They poked at the quiet one, mistook your peace for weakness, your patience for permission. And now, the silence they once mocked has turned into a deafening echo of your absence. That echo is killing them. They weren't ready for the version of you that finally stood up. They weren't ready for the storm you became. They thought you'd stay caged, confused, and always available. But you weren't made for cages. You were made to rise. If you're feeling this already, pause for a second, like this video, subscribe, because every time one of us finds this message, it signals the platform. Another one woke up, and when enough of us rise, the universe moves. So don't just watch, spread the signal. Now, let's talk. Let's talk about what it really means to be chosen. Being chosen isn't about ego. It's not about walking around like you're better than everyone else. It's about carrying something heavier than most will ever understand. It's the unseen weight, the sleepless nights, the inner war between breaking down and breaking through. It's being born into a battlefield with no map, no armor, just a soul that refuses to quit. And that power, it haunts people, not because you flex it, but because it exposes their lack of it. Your light doesn't just shine, it reveals. And when light hits darkness, it makes people uncomfortable. That's why they whisper, twist your story, try to box you in. Because your presence reminds them of everything they're not. You don't even have to say a word. Just walking in the room shifts the atmosphere. That's the kind of energy that can't be faked. That's the chosen. And still, some of you doubt yourselves. Still wondering, am I really chosen? Still sitting in rooms where your spirit is choking, still waiting for people who never clapped when you were up, but were quick to laugh when you were down. Listen close. Stop betraying your own light just to keep others comfortable in the dark. You were never alone. They were never fighting you. They were fighting the force backing you, the universe itself. That's why their attacks never fully landed. That's why you always bounced back, even when you were bleeding inside. They couldn't kill what they couldn't understand. And trust me, they don't understand you. They never will. You leaving wasn't a betrayal. It was a warning shot. It was the universe saying, enough. You didn't walk away. You ascended. And the ones who tried to keep you small, they're now stuck choking on the dust of your silence. Because the moment a chosen one leaves, it's not just goodbye, it's consequences. So let them talk, let them gossip, let them spin stories while you build empires in silence. Because every time they doubt you, the universe sharpens you. Every time they try to dim you, your light gets more focused. You're not just chosen, you're proven. And your exit? It was the prophecy being fulfilled. They can't believe you left? Good, because it's final. Number 1, you were the ghost in the room, and they were too blind to feel the cold. They only notice your silence when it stops serving their noise. They can't believe you left. That's because they were too busy feeding off your presence to notice your absence started long ago. You were never really with them. You were just around. A body on autopilot, a soul slowly slipping through the cracks, showing up out of duty, not desire. Your energy had already packed its bags long before your feet followed, and they never saw it, because they never looked. But don't get it twisted. They weren't blind by accident. Number, they chose not to see. Because the moment they acknowledged your pain, your detachment, your quiet decline, they'd be forced to take accountability. And accountability, that's not something parasites enjoy. So they ignored the signals, the dimming light in your eyes, the fake smiles, the way your laughter turned into silence over time. They ignored it all because it was easier to pretend you'd always be there. You were the quiet anchor, the unshaken presence, the one they could count on until they couldn't. And now they're in shock. Not because you're gone, but because for the first time they've been forced to confront a reality they never prepared for. You were never truly theirs to begin with. Let this be clear. Chosen ones, you were the gift, not the guest. Your presence wasn't a favor to you. It was grace extended to them. And when grace gets taken for granted, the universe intervenes. You didn't just leave. You were called out of the room by forces greater than you. You were extracted. Because the universe doesn't let its chosen rot in spaces built for the ungrateful. Let them feel it. Let them struggle with the sudden emptiness, the silence that now fills the void where your light once was. That's not guilt. That's consequence. That's what happens when people play chess with divine energy, thinking they're dealing with pawns, not realizing they were moving against kings and queens the whole time. They were playing against the system. You were moving with it. You see, the power of being chosen is misunderstood. It's not just favor, it's weight. It's carrying a mission that scares people because it reveals how purposeless their lives have become. It's the kind of presence that shifts rooms and unsettles spirits. And when you leave, it's not just you they're missing. It's order unraveling. It's the universe correcting an imbalance. You weren't their friend, their lover, their family member. You were the last thread holding things together. And when you walked, it all began to unravel. But let's pause for a second, because some of you still don't get it. Some of you are doubting the power you carry, still entertaining thoughts like, was it too much? Did I overreact? Maybe I should have stayed a little longer. Let me speak directly to you. Stop questioning the silence that brought you peace. Stop mourning spaces you were meant to outgrow. You think you walked away because you were tired? Number, you were called to leave. You were spiritually evicted from situations that were bleeding you dry. The universe gave you signs, whispered warnings, then started screaming through breakdowns, sickness, loneliness, and gut instincts you tried to ignore. And when you still hesitated, it broke things apart for you. That's how protected you are. So no, you're not crazy. You're not cold-hearted. You didn't change overnight. You just finally caught up with who you've been becoming all along. And they can't handle that version of you. The version that sees through the games, that speaks without fear, that refuses to beg for love or shrink for comfort. To them, it feels like a betrayal. But to you, it's a breakthrough. You never belonged in those rooms. You were just stationed there temporarily. A lesson, a lifeline, a mirror to show them what real light looks like. But once your purpose in that space expired, the energy shifted. And when the energy shifts, everything else follows. It wasn't a fallout. It was a spiritual release. You think it's a coincidence they're spiraling now? Number. They're spiraling because the false sense of control they built around you is crumbling. They thought they had you figured out. that your silence meant obedience, that your kindness was weakness, that your loyalty meant ownership. But chosen ones don't get owned. We show up until we don't. And when we leave, it's final, not out of spite. But because the universe doesn't do reruns, you had your assignment, you fulfilled it. You stayed longer than you should have, gave more than you had, and hoped harder than they deserved. But now, it's time to rise. And rising means leaving. Here's the part they never talk about. The fact that your departure wasn't personal. It was universal. Bigger than emotion. Bigger than loyalty. You were shifted for alignment, not approval. So let them question it. Let them call you cold. Let them label it selfish. Elevation never looks like kindness to those still addicted to your sacrifice. And if you still feel guilty, remember this. The ones who never saw you will never understand your absence. They'll never understand that your silence was the warning, that your leaving was the prophecy, that the emptiness they now feel is justice in action. They made you invisible when you were present. So now they're haunted by the space you once filled. Chosen ones, do not look back. They never saw you because they never could. You were walking with the universe, glowing in frequencies their spirits couldn't decode. And when the universe calls its own, nothing and no one can stop the exit. Not guilt, not history, not false love. So don't let them write the story. Don't let their confusion turn into your doubt. You left because you were never truly there. Your soul moved on first, and your body simply followed. That's not weakness. That's divine timing. They can't believe you left? That's because they thought they owned you. But now they know. You were never theirs. And now, it's final. Number 2. They danced in your light, then cursed the darkness they created. They drained the sun, then cried when the night came. They didn't just take you for granted, they fed off you. Fed off your glow, your goodness, your giving heart like it was their birthright. Like you were some unbreakable lighthouse meant to guide them, heal them, fix them, forever. And now they're shivering in the cold, staring into the void they never thought they'd have to face. Chosen one, they didn't love your light. They used it. There's a difference. They assumed you were endless, that your light would never go out, that no matter how much they ignored your needs, disrespected your peace, or overlooked your soul, you would keep showing up, keep pouring, keep shining. But even the sun needs space to rest. And here's the twisted part. They saw you dimming. They saw the flicker in your flame. They heard the cracks in your laughter, the silence in your once steady spirit. But they kept their hands out anyway, kept taking. They knew you were breaking, but they were addicted to the glow. So they convinced themselves that you'd never stop giving, even as you collapsed inside. You became their personal power source, not a person, a resource. And now they're stunned. Now they can't believe you're gone. Please, that's not disbelief. It's entitlement gasping for air. They thought you'd shine for them forever, simply because you always had. But chosen light doesn't come cheap. It's forged in darkness, in pain, in isolation. It's built through spiritual battles no one clapped for, through nights where you were the only one holding yourself together. That kind of light is sacred, divine. It's not for just anyone to touch. And when they touched it without care, the universe took it back. You didn't walk away in silence. They just refused to listen to the thunder before the storm. You gave warning after warning, in your eyes, in your energy, in your exhaustion, but they heard nothing until the light vanished. Now, look at them, sitting in rooms that feel colder than they remember, replaying conversations where you were present but fading, scrolling through memories trying to figure out when the light started dying, and realizing it was long before you left. And the part that stings most? They didn't just lose your warmth, they lost access. Access to your loyalty, your protection, your prayers, your wisdom, that supernatural covering you offered just by being there. They lost their shortcut to healing, and now they're left in the dark, fumbling around, trying to replace something that was never meant to be replicated. Let them sit in it, because you weren't chosen to be drained. You were chosen to shine, but not at your own expense. The universe didn't give you that light so others could live off your energy like parasites. It gave you that light to illuminate your path, to set you free, and to awaken the ones who truly see you, not just the ones who use you. And you, yes, you, need to stop feeling bad about burning out. You need to stop wondering if you could have done more, if maybe one more sacrifice would have made a difference. Chosen one, you did too much. You gave past the point of empty. You stayed when the universe already told you it was time to go. And still, they kept asking for more. They watched you bleed and called it beautiful. They saw your glow fade and blamed you for not smiling more. Let me say it plain, you owe them nothing now. They didn't lose your light, they threw it away, bit by bit, through their neglect, their silence, their arrogance. And now, they're crying in the darkness they created, hoping you'll feel guilty enough to come back and relight the flame. But we don't do repeats here. The light they loved, it still exists. It just doesn't shine for them anymore. It shines for you now, because you finally get it. You finally understand that your light isn't just brightness, it's power, and it's meant to be protected, guarded, reserved for those who give back, not just those who take, until you forget who you are. The truth is, they didn't miss your light. They missed their control. They miss how easy you made everything, how you turned chaos into calm, how you held space for them, even when they gave you nothing but shadows in return. They miss how you centered them in your world. But it's not their world anymore. You've been chosen, and chosen ones don't light up cages. So let them sit with the emptiness. Let them wrestle with the silence. Let them feel the weight of the void. Because maybe, just maybe, that's what it'll take for them to realize what they lost. Not a source of light, but a force of nature. And you're not burning out anymore. You're burning through. Number 3, you weren't meant to perch. You were built to soar. They didn't lose you. They lost control of the cage they built around you. Let's tell it like it is. They never loved you. They loved the version of you they could control. The quiet, agreeable, watered-down version who never made too much noise, who never demanded too much, who played small so they could feel big. They didn't nurture you, they managed you. And when you started to grow past the script they handed you, they panicked. Because here's the truth they won't say out loud. You were never theirs to keep. They disguised their control as love. their manipulation as guidance, their possessiveness as protection. But what they really wanted was power over your wings, to tell you how high to fly, how far to dream, and when to sit still. They wanted you caged but smiling, grateful to have a home, even if it suffocated your spirit. And for a while, you played along. Not because you were weak, but because you were hopeful. Because some part of you believed that if you stayed quiet long enough, if you made yourself small enough, they'd finally love you the way you needed. But you outgrew it. Not suddenly, slowly, quietly, in your thoughts first, then in your heart. You started asking questions they didn't want you to ask. You started seeing patterns they worked hard to hide. You began noticing how every compliment was tied to your compliance, how their so-called support disappeared the moment you wanted to do something for you. That's when it hit. They don't love you growing. They love you obedient. And once you realized that, the cage cracked. At first, they laughed, mocked the idea of you changing, told you were being dramatic, ungrateful, emotional. That's the go-to move for people who are losing control. They insult your awakening, because your freedom threatens the fantasy they built around your silence. But you kept growing, kept stretching, until the space they put you in felt unbearable. And one day, you stopped trying to fit. You stopped asking for permission to be full. And when you finally stepped out, when you broke free, they didn't cry for you. They cried for the power they lost. Because it was never about you being happy. It was about you being manageable. Chosen one, don't get it twisted. They're not grieving your absence. They're grieving the collapse of their little kingdom, where you were the loyal subject, always sacrificing, always showing up, always giving while they took and took. Your freedom forced them to face a version of themselves they never wanted to see, powerless, insecure, exposed. And now they're scrambling, saying you changed, that you're cold, that you think you're better now. But here's the thing, they called it love when it was control, but call it selfishness now that it's freedom. What they really mean is, we can't reach you anymore, and that scares us. Let it scare them, because the chosen don't belong in cages, even the ones wrapped in comfort, history, or fake smiles. You were made to expand, not shrink. And when you finally honored that inner voice, the one that kept whispering, you were made for more, the universe moved with you. It started clearing the path, burning bridges you were too afraid to let go of, shutting doors you kept forcing open. That wasn't loss. That was alignment. And here's what they'll never understand. You didn't walk away from them. You walked away from the version of you that tolerated them. They can't follow, not because you're cruel, but because they were never meant to walk beside the elevated you, the evolved you, the unshakable you. And they feel it now. They feel the space you took up, the energy you carried, the light they dimmed but never could kill. They see you thriving, glowing, rising, and it burns. Because no matter what they say now, deep down, they know you never needed the cage. The cage needed you. It was your presence that gave it meaning, your love that made it seem warm, your loyalty that held it all together. And now that you're gone, it's just empty walls and echoes of control. So let them sit in the silence. Let them wrestle with the truth that you outgrew them, and they chose not to grow with you. You didn't leave them behind. They chose the cage. You chose your wings, and now, chosen one, you fly alone. Number 4. You didn't break the rules, you broke the spell. The moment you walked away without begging, their whole power trip crumbled. They thought they had you figured out, thought they could guilt you into staying, shame you into silence, control you with glances, tones, and carefully placed words. Thought you'd always fold, always back down, always need their approval to breathe freely. But then you left, quietly, finally, and in that single act, their entire illusion of power shattered like glass under pressure. They didn't expect that. See, people like that don't build real power. They build illusions, smoke and mirrors. They don't lead with love or respect. They lead with fear dressed as concern, with obligation disguised as loyalty, with emotional strings tied so tightly around your self-worth that you forgot where they ended and you began. That's how they held you. That's how they kept you from rising. But chosen ones don't stay stuck forever. We feel the shift. We hear the whisper of the universe when it says, "You've had enough." And when we walk away, we don't look back. Not because we hate them, but because we finally love ourselves. And that's what they can't process. They didn't lose someone who was passive. They lost someone who used to care enough to stay silent. You weren't weak. You were patient. You weren't confused. You were just trying to give them the benefit of the doubt for the 100th time. But patience expires. And when it did, you rose, and they fell apart. Not because you cursed them, not because you exposed them. You didn't even have to say a word. Just your absence exposed everything they spent years trying to hide behind manipulation and control. That's what's eating them alive now. Because here's the part they never saw coming. You never needed revenge. You just needed clarity. And once you got that, game over. They're left flailing in the ruins of their own control, trying to figure out how you slipped through their fingers, trying to understand how you're glowing now, how you're thriving without their approval, how your peace is louder than their chaos ever was. And the worst part for them, they can't touch you anymore. Not emotionally, not mentally, not spiritually. The leash they used to tug on is gone. Because you didn't just leave a place, you left a cycle. That's what makes you dangerous now. Chosen ones, when you break the illusion, it's not just personal, it's cosmic. It sends ripples through every dynamic built on false power. Your growth forces people to confront how small they kept you. Your silence forces them to sit with the noise of their own dysfunction. They don't miss you. They miss the version of themselves that felt powerful around you. And now that version is gone too. But let's be real. There was a time you thought you needed them. A time you measured your worth through their eyes, when their validation felt like air and their disapproval like suffocation. But that was before you realized the truth. Anyone who needs to control you in order to love you never loved you at all. That's not love. That's possession. And the day you realized that, that's the day the spell broke. You saw the pattern, the manipulation, the way they only showed up when you were easy to manage, the way your goodness was defined by how quiet, obedient, or self-sacrificing you were. And you decided, finally, to choose yourself. You chose truth over comfort, freedom over familiarity, peace over performance. And with that one decision, you broke the entire structure they built on your back. Now they're scrambling, trying to recreate the power dynamic with someone else, trying to gaslight you from a distance, talking to anyone who'll listen, painting you as the villain for no longer playing their game. But you know the truth. You didn't flip the script, you burned it. Because chosen ones don't play roles written by insecure people looking for control. You write your own story now, and every chapter they can't read reminds them that they never knew you at all. They only knew the version they could manipulate, and that version is dead and buried. So let them choke on the silence. Let them struggle to hold on to the control they lost the day you remembered who you were. You didn't just walk away. You walked out of their system. And when you did, their illusion of power didn't just crack, it collapsed. Number 5. They thought you were temporary. Now they're bleeding from the space you left. They didn't realize you were the glue until everything fell apart. They always assumed someone like you could be replaced, that your energy, your presence, your patience could be duplicated, rebranded, or found in someone else. To them, you were just another piece in their puzzle, useful, dependable, but not essential. They thought you'd always be there, because that's what you always were, there, showing up, holding it down, keeping the peace, filling in the cracks they refused to fix themselves. But here's the thing they never calculated for. The glue can leave too. And when it does, everything that looked stable suddenly collapses. Chosen one, your absence didn't just create a gap, it created a void, a silence that hums like a warning, a weight that lingers in the air. Because you weren't just a presence, you were the foundation. You were the reason things functioned. You were the emotional generator, the unspoken healer, the one who kept everything running while everyone else took you for granted. Now they're left fumbling, confused as to why nothing feels right anymore, why the air is tense, why conversations are forced, why things don't flow the way they used to. Let me break it down for you. They lost the frequency, your frequency, that divine chosen energy that shifted rooms without saying a word. And once that energy exits, it doesn't come back. Not for the ungrateful, not for the unaware, not for the ones who thought they had time. They're trying to replace you now, swapping you out like a battery, bringing in substitutes, distractions, new people, but nothing sticks. Because you weren't just a role, you were a resonance. You were the calm in their chaos, the voice of reason in their storms, the quiet strength in their weakness. And now they're drowning in everything you used to hold back. The arguments they thought they'd never have, the emotional messes you used to clean up without credit, the disconnection that crept in the moment you walked away. You were the bridge, and now they're stranded on opposite ends, wondering why everything feels colder. They miss you, but not just you. They miss the balance you brought, the light they didn't know how to carry, the presence that made them feel safe, even when they never gave that same safety in return. They're realizing now, your absence is louder than your presence ever was. And isn't that funny? How people only start listening when there's nothing left to hear. They didn't appreciate the real you. They appreciated what you did for them, the comfort, the consistency, the way you made life easier without asking for much back. And now that you're gone, they don't know what to do with the silence, the tension, the breakdowns. They're realizing they weren't holding anything together. You were. But this is what happens when chosen ones leave. We don't exit quietly. we leave echoes. Our energy doesn't just vanish, it exposes. And now they're looking around, wondering why the house feels colder, why their spirit feels heavier, why nothing they do seems to click anymore. Because you didn't just leave a space, you took the atmosphere with you. Let them feel it. Let them squirm trying to recreate what came naturally to you. Let them chase that peace, that light, that frequency, and find nothing but cheap imitations and empty rooms. Because what you carried wasn't common, it was sacred, and they treated it like it was disposable. Now they know you weren't a placeholder. You were the pulse. And here's the part that stings the most for them. They'll never find you again. Not in someone new, not in a crowd, not in their memories, because your energy isn't something that can be summoned. It's something that has to be earned. And they failed that test. So don't feel guilty. Don't look back. Don't wonder if maybe you should have stayed a little longer. You stayed longer than you should have. You gave more than you had. And still, they only realized your value after you were gone. That's not your burden to carry anymore. You were the glue, the calm, the spark. And now that you're gone, everything they built around you is falling apart. Let it. Number 6. They called you strong so they wouldn't have to be. They weren't inspired by your strength. They were dependent on it. They praised your resilience like it was some superpower, like it was something you owed the world, like your ability to keep pushing, keep giving, keep standing in the fire without flinching was normal. They romanticized your endurance so they could keep unloading their chaos onto you without guilt. But here's the truth they never wanted to admit. They were addicted to your resilience. You were the one who held the center when everything was falling apart. The one who stepped in, patched the leaks, calmed the storms, and cleaned up the emotional wreckage again and again. They didn't see the cost, didn't ask how you were holding up, didn't check if you were breaking inside while holding it together for everyone else, because your strength was too convenient for them to question. You were the emotional anchor, the stabilizer, the fixer, and that made you invisible. Because when you're the one who always comes through, people stop seeing you as human. They stop asking if you're okay. They stop thinking you need anything. They just expect. They expect you to show up, to figure it out, to take the hit and smile anyway. They were never loving your strength. They were leaning on it, using it, hiding behind it. And you let them, not because you were weak, but because that's who you are, a chosen one, wired to carry weight others can't, built to endure things others would collapse under. But here's the part you need to hear. Just because you can carry it doesn't mean you should. They blurred the line between support and survival, between appreciation and exploitation. And by the time you realized you were the only one holding the house up, your back was already breaking. But still, you stayed. Still, you believed maybe they'd recognize it one day, that maybe they'd step up, that maybe finally someone would ask, "Are you okay?" They never did. So you stopped. You stopped rescuing, stopped saving, stopped showing up with solutions for people who wouldn't even lift a finger for you. And that's when it all started unraveling. Not just their mood, not just the fake peace, but the entire structure. Because what they never realized was that their version of stability only existed because you were holding the walls up with your bare hands. Now that you're gone, the truth is impossible to ignore. The dysfunction they denied for years, it's loud now. The emotional chaos they dumped on you, it's flooding their lives. All those messes you used to quietly clean, they're drowning in them. And it's not because you cursed them, it's because you stopped shielding them. Your resilience was never free. Every time you put their needs before your own, it chipped away at your soul. Every time you swallowed your pain to make them comfortable, it took a toll. Every time you held it down for them, it hollowed you out just a little more. But you're done bleeding strength for people who can't even offer basic support. They miss you now, but not in the way they say. They miss the way you made them feel safe, the way you handled what they couldn't, the way you were the calm in their storms, the logic in their chaos, the fire escape they always assumed would be there. But that escape is closed now. And let's be honest, they're not just missing your resilience, they're panicking without it. They don't know how to function in the chaos they created. They're spiraling, not because you did anything wrong, but because you finally did something right. You chose you. Chosen one, your strength was never the problem. Their dependence on it was. You didn't walk away from them, you walked back to yourself. And that's the most powerful thing you could have done, because now they're forced to face the pain they refused to heal, to deal with the emotions they always dumped on you, to clean up the mess they claimed didn't exist. Let them. You were never weak for being strong, but you were exhausted, you were drained, and now, finally, you're free. They called it resilience, like it was a compliment, but it was a warning, a red flag they ignored while applauding your suffering. And now they see what happens when the strong one walks. They're left with everything you carried, and it's crushing them. Number 7. You were the real one. Now they're drowning in plastic. They tried to copy your essence, but imitation always cracks under the weight of truth. They didn't just lose someone, they lost something real. And in a world full of masks, filters, and fake smiles, that kind of loss hits different. Because what you brought wasn't just presence, it was substance, depth, energy. A rawness that couldn't be manufactured, no matter how hard they tried. You were the truth in a sea of performance, the one who said what others were scared to, the one who moved with intention, not agenda. You didn't show up to impress, you showed up to be real, and that alone made you a threat. They didn't know how to value that. See, most people say they want authenticity until they're standing in front of someone who actually lives it. You weren't polished or perfect, but you were pure. No games, no fake personas, no pretending to be something you weren't just to fit in. And that made you dangerous, because when you're real, you shine a light on everything that's fake. And they felt exposed. So instead of rising to meet you, they tried to reduce you, dismiss your depth, shrink your presence, pretend like you were too much or too different. But deep down, they knew exactly what you were, rare. Now that you're gone, it's showing. They tried to replace you, tried to fill the space with someone new, someone flashier, more agreeable, easier to mold. They copied your style, repeated your words, mimicked your mannerisms like a script. But what they didn't realize is that authenticity has weight. You can wear the outfit, steal the caption, copy the cadence, but you can't fake soul. And now, everything feels off, empty, artificial, because the truth is, your energy can't be duplicated. Your presence wasn't just seen, it was felt. The way you walked into rooms and made people check themselves without saying a word. The way you spoke and shook something awake in others. That's not charisma, that's alignment. That's someone walking in their truth. And that can't be manufactured. They feel it now. The hollowness, the flatness, the lack of spark. They're surrounded by people who play the part but don't have the heart. People who smile to your face and secretly compete behind your back. People who say all the right things but move with no integrity. That's what they traded you for. That's what they tried to replace you with. And now they're sitting in rooms full of noise, craving the real again. But it's too late. Because you don't circle back to places that tried to dim your shine just because others couldn't handle your realness. You don't return to tables where you had to starve your truth to make others feel full. You don't apologize for being too deep in a world that rewards the shallow. You leave. And in your absence, the contrast is brutal. Suddenly, they realize how many moments you held together, how many lies you shattered with a look, how much clarity you brought just by being you. They remember your honesty, your boldness, your quiet strength. The way you stayed solid when everything else was built on sand. And now, without that presence, everything around them feels counterfeit. Because it is. Your authenticity wasn't just refreshing, it was confronting. It challenged them to be better, to be honest, to be real. But instead of rising to that standard, they tried to replace the source with a substitute. Now, the substitute is glitching. The truth is catching up. The energy's off. The vibes don't match. The room knows something's missing, even if they don't say it out loud. And the ones who tried to mirror you, they're starting to crack. Because carrying someone else's essence is heavy, especially when you've never done the work to build your own. Chosen one, they didn't just lose someone, they lost the mirror. The one who reflected truth back at them, the one who wouldn't play along with the lies, the one who showed up real, even when it would have been easier to fake it. You walked away, and they stayed behind with their performances. Let them act. Because the world doesn't need more actors, it needs more you. And now they know. You weren't just different, you were the only one being real. Number 8. Your exit didn't just leave a space. It exposed their reflection. They thought losing you was the problem, but the real problem was what your absence revealed. You didn't just walk away, you held up a mirror. And that's what's really haunting them now. Not just that you're gone, but that your absence is loud, deafening, confrontational. Because when you were there, you were more than just a person. You were their buffer from truth, their shield from consequence, the one thing standing between them and the mess they refused to deal with. And now the shield is gone. Now they're standing face to face with the version of themselves they spent years avoiding. The version that manipulated, controlled, lied, blamed, played the victim. The version that fed off your strength, your forgiveness, your constant grace, and gave nothing back but excuses. And without you there to balance the scales, the weight of their own dysfunction is finally hitting. Hard Chosen one, you were never just there. You were the glue, the compass, the conscience in the room. You softened edges. You gave benefit of the doubt when none was earned. You spoke life into empty spaces and patched up wounds they never even said thank you for. But most of all, you gave them a place to hide. Because being around someone real, someone grounded, someone with light, it makes the shadows feel safe until that light disappears. And now the shadows are all they see. They're starting to feel the tension that was always there, but hidden under your calm. They're hearing the arguments you used to de-escalate, seeing the cracks you used to seal, noticing the chaos that always existed, but was kept in check by your presence. Without you, the dysfunction isn't just visible, it's undeniable. They thought you were the problem, thought you were too sensitive, too intense, too demanding. But now, stripped of your energy, they realize what you were really doing all along, carrying what they refused to face. And here's what hits the hardest. They can't blame you anymore. You're not around to point fingers at, not there to deflect onto, not there to gaslight, guilt trip, or spin narratives around. The silence you left behind is pure truth. It's no longer diluted by their excuses or your presence. It's just them and the mirror. And let's be clear, this is justice, not revenge, not cruelty, truth. The kind of justice the universe brings when the chosen walk away from cycles they were never meant to stay in. Because when you leave with dignity, when you walk in truth and not vengeance, your energy does something deeper than retaliation. It reveals. You didn't have to yell, didn't have to burn the bridge. You just walked. And in doing so, you exposed everything they spent so long hiding. Their unhealed wounds, their selfishness, their inability to take accountability. All the ugly truths you used to cover with compassion are now staring back at them, and they're terrified. Because they don't know how to face themselves without a scapegoat. And now the room is cold. The atmosphere is thick. Their reflection is unavoidable. And the worst part? They're starting to realize that the love, balance, and clarity they claimed to create was never theirs. It was yours. You were the reason the dysfunction didn't consume everything. You were the one making chaos look calm. Now they're exposed. And here's where your power becomes undeniable. You didn't have to destroy anything. You just left, and everything started falling apart. That's not ego, that's energy. That's what happens when someone who was carrying the weight finally decides to put it down. So let them sit in it. Let them wrestle with the version of themselves they worked so hard to avoid. Because that is what they truly lost. The luxury of hiding behind you. You were the distraction that made them feel decent. The emotional crutch that let them avoid growth. The light that masked the dark corners of their soul. But now it's just them. No filter, no savior, no cushion, just the mirror. And mirrors don't lie. Let them face it. Let them grow, or let them crumble. That's not your responsibility anymore. You already did your part. You reflected truth in every room you entered. And when you left, you took the illusion with you. What's left behind? A mirror, and the reflection is ugly. And now, chosen ones, if you felt every word deep in your spirit, know this. Your exit was never a loss. It was a revelation. You didn't just walk away, you exposed everything. Let them deal with the silence, the void, the mirror. You're done carrying what was never yours. Stand in your truth, own your power, and never shrink again. If this message woke something up in you, like the video, subscribe, and drop the number 77 in the comments if you know you were never meant to stay caged. Share this with another chosen one, Someone out there needs to hear what you just did.